Speaker, and I too rise to speak on the Crimes Amendment Performance Crime Bill 2025. Now, as has been discussed in the chamber today, Acting Speaker, this is a bill that seeks to deal with the alarming rise in what is known as performance crime or posting and boasting, and is a type of crime that encourages others, and particularly young people, to undertake a crime and then put that on social media in many instances, to share that with others and encourage others to do similar acts and commit similar crimes, boasting about it amongst their cohort. Now, the bill makes a summary offence to publish or cause to be published material that depicts, describes or otherwise indicates the commission of a relevant offence by the person, and undertake or cause that publication with the intention of attracting attention to the commission of that offence. And the bill includes an exhaustive list of relevant offences, which include theft of a motor vehicle, robbery or armed robbery, burglary, aggravated burglary, home invasion or aggravated home invasion, carjacking, aggravated carjacking, affray, violent disorder, incitement or attempt in relation to the above offences. And I should note from the outset, Acting Speaker, that the Liberals and Nationals, the coalition, support the intent behind the bill before us today. This is, as I said, an area in which we are seeing an alarming rise in the number of incidents when it comes to posting and boasting crime, particularly among youth offenders. And it's something that is very important when it comes to the broader crime issues that we are seeing rise in this state. And can I commend the member for Malvern for his extensive work on bringing forward to this chamber a number of important amendments that seek to actually strengthen the bill that the government has brought before us here today. Acting Speaker, Victoria is in the midst of a crime crisis. Every single time we have the crime statistics released, we see another rise in crime across this state. We are seeing there has been an alarming rise in when it comes to the statewide 17% rise in crime over the past 12 months. And at the same time, an 18% increase in youth crime, with a 42% increase over the past decade as we've had the Labor government here in Victoria. And Acting Speaker, can I just touch briefly on the impact this has on my own local community? Not a day goes by where I don't have someone contact me about a crime that has been committed against them, their family, their property. And if I look at the statistics in my local community in Boroondara, total criminal incidents are up 29.6% over the past 12 months. Now, that's higher than the state average. If you look at residential aggravated burglary, it's up 66.8%. Motor vehicle theft is up a staggering 152%, and retail theft up 65.3%. Now, it should be no surprise when crime has reached the highest level on record in Victoria since statistics began to be collected in this state. This is the consequence of not dealing with the surge in crime for years under the Allan Labor government. Now, the Allan Labor government, Acting Speaker, had to be dragged to the table to even admit there was a crime crisis in this state. For years, refusing to acknowledge that so many Victorians were being impacted by crime, being impacted by the fact that in many cases, youth offenders have a revolving door when it comes to bail in this state. And why is that the case? Because this government, the Labor government, weakened Victoria's bail laws 2 years ago. And then what did they do? They realised the consequences of the weakening of those laws, ignored at the time the Liberals and Nationals' amendments to that legislation to ensure that those laws would not be weakened and we would not see the consequences that we're seeing today. Then the government brings in another raft of legislation to strengthen their own weakened bail laws, claiming that they're the toughest bail laws in the country. Yet they are weaker than the very laws that they changed 2 years ago. And once again, this week, more laws to bring in to so-called strengthen the toughest bail laws in the country to once again make them the toughest bail laws in the country. This is a government that has let the crime crisis in Victoria get out of control. And no further do we need to look than the bill before us here today. This is a bill that does not provide the important protections that we expect, that Victorians would expect to see when it comes to this sort of crime, when it comes to posting and boasting. There are obvious loopholes under this bill where an offender could commit the relevant offence, publish them, and if they don't publish that material themselves, under a loophole, the offender could ask their friend to post material, which would have the exact same effect in glorifying criminal conduct without attracting that criminal liability that this bill is supposed to deal with. Now, this is a bill that is weaker, that has come in New South Wales or in Queensland. And that's why the member for Malvern has moved a raft of amendments to this bill to ensure that it is strengthened, that it can actually achieve the purpose that it seeks to achieve. And those amendments will add the offences of assault, causing serious injury in circumstances of gross violence, destroying or damaging property, and dangerous driving as relevant offences for the purposes of the new law. Many of the instances that we see when it comes to posting and boasting are in relation to dangerous driving, Acting Speaker, in relation to hooning. Yet under the piece of legislation we're debating today, that is not covered. The same when it comes to assault. We just look to the example of the teenage offender who pushed a man who was innocently going about fishing on a pier into the water. Under this piece of legislation, free to post and boast about that. How does this legislation deal with the very issue that it's meant to try and deal with? It has glaring loopholes. And that's why the member for Malvern moved the amendment to tighten the definition of publication to include where the offender publishes the material to even a single person. And further to that, Acting Speaker, we see that under this piece of legislation that it's essential that any imprisonment under the post and boast laws must be served as cumulatively any sentence for the offence which is being publicised, so the penalty will be an additional consequence. If an offender doesn't believe that by posting about the offence that they have undertaken will be an additional offence, then where is the deterrent? What is the purpose of this piece of legislation? And that's why the member for Malvern has moved the raft of amendments today, done the work, worked with stakeholders to ensure that the piece of legislation before us actually achieves the purpose that I think all of us in this place actually want to achieve. But once again, we're in a situation where this government will ignore the warnings from the Liberals and Nationals. They won't want to work constructively with us. They won't want to deal with the actual issue in this state. We saw it on the bail laws. We've seen it time and time again, where we have warned the government about the consequences of certain pieces of legislation they've brought before us. We have moved amendments, and time again they've been ignored. The same when it comes to machetes in this state. We have moved legislation brought before this place, legislation that the government has then picked up and mirrored down the track when they realised it was a crisis, that it is impacting people, that Victorians do not feel safe. They do not feel safe in their own homes, in their businesses. But it takes rising crime rates year on year, month on month, day on day for this government to actually realise that this is an issue that Victorians want prioritised. This is an issue that the Allan Labor government has failed Victorians. They have failed to keep them safe. It should be the number one duty of any government to keep people safe, to ensure that when they go home, they feel safe in their homes. But under this government, we have seen crime rates surge. And the legislation we have before us today is just one more example where they are failing to put in place strong laws laws that will actually deter and prevent people continuing to commit crime and crime again, and actually ensure that Victorians are safe and are not put at risk because this government, time and time again, fails to prioritise the safety of the Victorian people.
Member for